Attention humans. This program is intended for adults only. It may contain coarse language and adult humor. Viewer discretion is advised.
And what's going on, Internet? Joe from Galaxy Couch here, and joined by my friend Justin. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Diablo 2 beta, perhaps, for those that pre-ordered. But let me turn it over to Justin. Just why don't you introduce yourself there?
Hi guys, I'm Justin. I joined Joe on this early beta play.
This adventure!
This adventure. My experience with Diablo is actually I played 2 and 3, both run through those with Joe. Haven't played 1, so yeah, if any boos or hisses you want to throw my way, that's fine. I played this remaster on the PC, and yeah, that's about the long and short of it. We want to jump into first impressions.
For first impressions, might as well just start off with the cutscenes. I mean, they're definitely beautiful. It definitely
Absolutely.
look. And I mean, for the time when the original game came out, those cutscenes were already pretty freaking mind-blowing. I have to say, I do kind of miss the old look of Marius, just because he seemed a little bit, I guess, more feeble and kind of like decrepit in the original trailer. I mean, I think you even get like like him drool just coming out of his mouth in the original one. Just
they're very upfront about it. That,
yeah,
he is a hot mess.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
It looked more. I don't know.
This one he looks like he just needed a good shave. Maybe a good night's rest.
Yeah, doesn't look like the man that's been following Diablo himself around for the past.
Right.
Just like, oh, you get a bath and a shave, you'd be fine. But
oh yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I'm excited to see what the other ones look like as well.
Sure, absolutely. I guess just we want to talk about first impressions, just in terms of gameplay and visuals.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt like Diablo, especially it felt like Diablo 2. I know we were kind of talking about it while we were playing, but it's beautiful, but it still has that old school storybook almost aesthetic that the original had. A good definition of I guess a good remaster is if the gameplay is captured and the feeling of the game is also recaptured.
Sure. Yeah, they could have probably thrown in any number of added visual bells and whistles, but it just would have taken away from, I think, that that original feel that Diablo 2 had.
Yeah,
so I think.
What
Go
were
ahead.
what were your thoughts on the gameplay cutscenes, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I agree. The cutscenes were very impressive. Just it's amazing how far we've come. I think that's one of the really cool things about remasters in general. It's just you get to see things in a completely different light, different tone to some degree, with just the added visual effects and things like that. But again, they balanced it out very nicely in that it didn't feel like it was they slapped on a just a new coat of paint and called it a remaster. They really took the time to make you feel like this was I definitely felt like that nostalgia factor was very much present.
The nostalgia boner, just
Yeah. No, they just did an excellent job and of course and I think this needs to be done with every remaster, is a nod to Halo for doing a great job with that, giving you the option to flip back and forth between the OG visuals and the new visuals. I think that was it highlights just what a far leap they've made in visuals, but also just again you get the opportunity to really see choices they made and why they made them. as you kind of flip back and forth in terms of just what they chose to update, what they decided to. I mean, you can even see for yourself how little is really changed in terms of the level design and everything. They haven't done anything to drastically change it, which I think was like a kind of a big worry with a lot of games. Is oftentimes they try to do kind of reimaginings.
Yeah.
And when a game is as good as this, that's still being played by tons of people, the original 20 years later, you don't need to fix anything or reimagine anything. It is good as is. So
yeah, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just build a better mousetrap, or just slap a nicer coat of paint, make sure it runs stable. A lot of the tricks behind the scenes playing this, you kind of get a feel for how it works. It was definitely weird going back to the original graphics, because you don't get the same treatment on the old end, which a little bit of that is to be expected, but I can't even remember. I think it was 480 by 600 was the one resolution, or you can get, I know for a fact you can get 800 by 600. That's like the default.
Yeah.
Which is definitely zoomed in a lot, which it's funny because you can tell when you flip between the old UI and the new UI, you can see that they perfectly left it 800 by 600 and cut the angel and the demon over the health and mana reserves, and when you flip over, that really hasn't moved much. So like you can't play with the resolution old school stretched out, but the game has to run old school stretched out in order to run the new layer of paint on top. They just won't let you see that on the back end, which confuses me a little bit, because one thing that a lot of people notice is this is going to change the gameplay. If you're a purist, I think the most you could get even for Windows XP was 1200 by 768, which I think lends it even a little bit more stretched. But there's a reason that everything is zoomed in so much, is so you can't see past you with the fog of war per se, especially with characters that are going to shoot, namely like if you play Amazon, or especially for Sorceress. When you flip to the new mode, obviously I can see much farther down the screen than I could if I was originally playing the old game. I can kind of hold shift now and I can spam, missiles, and I know I'm going to hit, down the hallway because I can see that travel, which you couldn't do as much in the old gameplay. It's a lot more zoomed up. Oh, an odd choice to let you zoom up into the old graphics as well. We figured out that transferred when we were playing. And there is a certain beauty to the old style graphics. Like I said, especially, I mean, in order to get the real effect, you almost have to play it windowed minimized so that it actually, is spaced out as much as it should. But I feel like it almost just, it looked so dirty and ass when you zoomed in on the old graphics. I almost didn't want to look at it anymore. To be honest, I played probably 80% of this beta with the new shiny coat of paint.
And that speaks volumes to just what a good job they've done, because one of the thoughts that I had going in was, am I just going to want to flip it back to the old graphics? I mean, they did such a good job with retaining the nostalgia that I didn't feel I needed to crawl back to the old graphics just to get that nostalgia factor. It still felt like, I mean, I think always the goal is how can we make the game feel as exciting or as when we first played it many years ago. How can it how can the game look like the original game was perceived through our eyes as much younger individuals, because back then, seeing those graphics, it was something special. It was something cutting edge, and that's what they managed to pull off. Is
right.
I think I agree. I think 80% probably for me, it was probably more like 90%. I just flipped back occasionally just to see, just to again remind me how much of a difference 20 years can really make. And boy does it.
That's a crazy thought too. The fact that when I was playing this, I was a young whippersnapper. Probably getting bitched at by my dad to get off the internet. Because of course playing it on 56K connection.
Right.
Yeah, you get off the internet. I gotta make a call. You're like, oh, or when somebody called, being in the middle of a dungeon and being like, no, and getting stuck in a wall and then boop, being disconnected, right at a boss fight or something. Definitely takes me back, but smart on Blizzard to outsource this the way they did after, I'm not going to really talk about Activision Blizzard. That's not what this video, is. That could be its own separate video.
Conversation.
Right, but let's just say, after what happened with Warcraft 3 Reforged, and how you pissed all over that original community that can't even play its original game the way they used to play it. Smart to outsource it, and smart that basically this won't touch the original people that just want to play on originalbattle.net. You can still go play with all the bots and everything. You can still do those ladders. Another interesting thing, right off the rip, ladder isn't going to be there. It'll only be non-ladder characters, and you can make hardcore characters. So ladder isn't going to officially start for, I don't even think they've given a date for that, which I know has pissed quite a few people off, because obviously, you get the game, the whole thing is start the ladder, you want to jump in and already be, grinding to, be that number one slot. I know a lot of people take that, very seriously, especially in the speedrunning community. And they're not going to have that right out of the gate, which I don't know if they've addressed the reason why, other than I think they just wanted to make sure it was stable before they started introducing, that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering if this is on the back end secretly going to be tied with the original Diablo 2's ladder season, if maybe they're going to wait till a fresh reset of that happens. That way they can just, have both going at the same time for however you want to play that. I just thought that was a little bit interesting. Little side note, didn't mean to get too sidetracked there. Let's see, what else did I have noted down to talk about? Well, the main thing that I think I kind of wanted to end with, so we basically played Act 1, Act 2, we finished it, just you and me. Just doing 2-player. And we didn't really experience too many bugs, other than the biggest glaring issue that I saw. There was some lag when trying to quick swap things to the stash and the inventory, and then the crashes. There was.
Yeah. I'd say probably in our initial playthrough that between the two of us, I believe I had maybe 4 or 5 crashes.
I was hitting like 15. Yeah. But one nice thing with a lot of these types of games is, after a crash, log back in, jump back on, pick up where you left off. Right.
So at the very least, it was a quick turnaround, and we're not expecting absolute perfection.
Still beta slapped on the tag.
Right. Going into it, we had our expectations set, and I'd say, it was what I expected. Maybe even a little better.
I gotta say, I was surprised we could even log on when it said play.
Yeah. right off the bat, the fact that we could get it up and running, and there wasn't an hour or two of tweaking or going through any sort of like forums to try and figure out this Windows error or this it was a pretty fast setup. Got going, and like I said before, the crashes, they suck, but you could get right back on and right back into the game, and not too many problems moving forward after that.
When it ended, and when it let me go to Act 3, it just said main menu. Tear came out of my eye.
thought we could, sneak one by the beta people.
Yeah, the beta's
Wonder if
actually
they were to
broken.
put this in. Maybe someone was napping when they were supposed to.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, overall performance. I mean, and then when we decided to shift over to maxing out the party.
Yeah, so
number
we
eight.
ended with the multiplayer. You'd think we would have started, straight, but I think we wanted to, take our time and not gonna lie, did allow for the way we played it, pause for bathroom breaks and extracurricular activities of the nature. You gotta go out and smoke or something, we could pause it. So yeah, so we finished Act 2, you and me, and then yeah, we did open it back up. Obviously just trying to join Act 2 start games, fill in the parties, 8 people, and holy was I actually surprised that the allure of 60 frames per second. I assure, depending on what the footage truly shows, that it was smooth with 8 people, which I don't ever remember that in the old game. In fact, if you switch back to the old graphics when trying to play with a full party, there's the plug and chug. So the old game actually did only run in 30 frames per second, and in order for all the math to work, it still has to do that. So the new coat of paint on top is just altered animations with the new coat of paint to make it seem that it's 60 frames per second, but it's actually playing in 30. There's a lot of weird math that goes around, but anywho, not to get too sidetracked, 8 people. I didn't notice too much lag other than occasionally here or there, which the original Diablo 2 was notorious for. So I was just happy that for the most part, I'd say at least over 60 to 70% of the time it played smoothly.
Yeah, I think going into a lot of these experiences we had, we were kind of clenching. I'm like, is this really gonna work?
Yeah.
And we, to our delight, it ended up being better experience than previously. So I gotta give my tip of a hat to the boys at Vicarious Studios. Is that correct?
Believe, yes.
Yeah. They have they've got a good track record going. I feel like there's a couple companies out there that are really finding their stride with remastering or remaking games, and there's certainly a market for it. So this is just one more piece of proof that with the right care, love, and work, and just acknowledgement of the fan base and their expectations, you can really make a product that's going to please a lot of people, and offer a new avenue, a fresh introduction for people who may not have been alive when it came out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's another thing I have to think about too. Like, people are gonna there's gonna be little kids playing this on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And,
it warms my heart.
yeah, and I'm gonna be that old some bitch going like, back in my day, I played this on an E-machines, like Windows XP.
Let's get you home.
And you had to play on dial-up, and it was slow as shit. And I'll be bitching. But that's another thing I kind of wanted to bring up too. I don't know if you can even touch on the experience or explain it in words, because you played now quite a few ARPGs. I got you kind of into Path of Exile, which that requires like 3 different programs and 3 different screens to adequately play properly. And that was with 4 players, and I know, like, back when we originally did play through it, I think it was the 3 of us, you, me, and Adam, so I don't think you ever got to experience that full 8-player insaneness.
I will say you really got to be aware of the the width of certain tunnels and areas, choke points. And you got to be, it got me thinking about just the formation or structure of the group before it was kind of a lot more just not a whole lot of thinking involved, other than ranged attacks going to be in the back and your tanks are probably going to be more to the front. But then added in with just 4 more players, or in this case 5 more than what I'm typically accustomed to, I had to be really conscious of just the structure of the level, and also where my placement is when the whole group is moving in for battle.
Yeah,
So,
it still has that old Diablo 2 jank of getting caught. Like, you can't just run past players, and if someone wants to be a they can just be like, nah, you're gonna...
I'm gonna stand in the doorway.
Yeah, you're gonna sit, you better get on the other side of that, because I ain't moving. You're gonna die.
Right.
A lot of that, as well as... I warned you ahead of time, like, be ready to be quick on the keys, because especially with 8 people, like, the drops.
Yeah. Bit of advice for anybody that's going to be playing that. Yeah, you want to be quick to the draw, and always check your inventory to make sure that there isn't stuff in there that you didn't mean to pick up or don't want in there, because there's very limited space, and instead of picking up a couple yellows, I got beaten out by some other guys in the group, and I'm sitting there with a quiver and a bow and arrow that I have 0 use for. I forgot to remove from the inventory.
Right. I guess final thoughts as a whole. Hopeful thoughts for the upcoming game. Excited? Yay, nay? And we can end on that if you want to go first, and then I'll give my spiel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very hopeful, very pleased with how the beta so far. I mean, it's just this is early beta, and went in with the expectations that we're gonna have a few crashes, some lag. That's part of the whole process. This is important aspect of development, and never ceased to impress me throughout the whole experience, crashes and all, because again, it's going to happen even with the full release. The game's going to have some bugs, some crashes, but never at any point did it feel like it was a particularly distressing or hindering the experience. The fact that you can get 8 players together and it run that smoothly, I think was just phenomenal. And going back to just the visual, the style, the presentation, they captured, I think, that aesthetic that was going to be really important for not only the people playing, but people who've been playing for years and years and years and have grown up with the game and have a very close relationship with it. It's a big deal to a lot of people, and you can tell that the people that worked on this were very cognizant of that throughout the whole process.
I have to say, for me at least, if they can pull this off, I don't give a fuck about Diablo 4.
There you go.
I really don't, because that's too iffy, especially with the lead director just got fired from that game, so I don't know. That's too far in the future. I don't even want to think about that. And to be honest, I dove into 3 and ended up walking away a little disappointed. I think towards the last expansion, the Reaper of Souls, that kind of brought me back, and it felt closer to Diablo, but then it was like, well, too little too late, and for what they changed with the multiplayer aspects and stuff, I was like, I'll go play Path of Exile. And I did. And then this, got announced, and it's like, oh, holy shit, what everybody said could never be done is going to be done in a time when it really was like announced and then didn't even have to wait that long for it. It seems like time kind of just flew by. But if they can get it up and running smooth, the problem that I think I've had with it so far is, aside from the new coat of paint, it's still the same bugs that 2 had. And this is kind of, we just wanted to dive in and do a little taste. I plan on doing an actual proper video for the full game release when it comes out. These are just, snippets of the experience. So I have been actually playing the original on battle.net, And I have to say, the same random disconnects, freezes, it's all there. What I would like to see them do is, yeah, you've given a fresh coat of paint and you've made it an enjoyable experience again. Can you actually clean up some of that stuff on the back end? Can we get away from some of those crashes and some of that random jank tunneling, which probably not, because again, this is just the original game running with another game on top of it, akin to how Master Chief for Halo 1 and 2, those remasters pulled off that feature. But I'm excited for it. I mean, obviously we both adopted, we both pre-ordered. They've got our cash now, so so we're in it regardless. But yeah, what I'd like to kind of hope for and maybe see is maybe we can clean up some of that stuff on the back end, make it run that, full experience. And if they can even tone down some of the random crashes and drops, I think it'll be great. Like I said, just alone to be able to play with 8 people, I know with all the friends, I'm pumped. I can't say it enough. I'm excited.
Yeah, agreed. Another tip of the hat to Vicarious Visions. They done something very, very impressive, and I hope, just in a more general sense, this is a sign of things to come in the industry. There's a big market for it. It's definitely makes some old farts like us feel alive again. And
I just wanted to see Tristram again and hear old Deckard.
Right. Doesn't leave us running back to the beast, the abusive relationship that is Path of Exile.
Right.
No offense. Path of Exile's great.
Right.
But yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed. I agree with you. If they can clean up those bugs, then they've taken a great game and they've improved on it. And at the end of the day, they should be proud of that.
Well, Justin, thanks for joining me on this little podcasty type episode that we got going on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And we'll be playing as well next weekend. All that good stuff. Until next time, my name is Joe, and we'll talk to you guys later.